Welcome to the KMC Collective podcast, where the KMC team brings you practical insights, creative ideas, and authentic conversations for children's ministry leaders. Each conversation is packed with strategies to help you lead with clarity, build strong teams, nurture families, and stay healthy in the process. Whether you're planning lessons, training volunteers, or seeking encouragement for the week ahead, this podcast is for you. We hope to make you laugh, cry, think, and maybe a bit of all three in each of our weekly conversations. This is the KMC Collective podcast. Let's jump into the conversation.
All right, guys. So today I was picking up my son from daycare, and he came running up to me, and he says, Dad, look, I got invited to Lucas's birthday party. And he handed me this invitation. He was jacked because it was Spider-Man, and it's Lucas's 5th birthday, and he was so pumped. And I thought to myself, as we were doing what we're doing tonight, why don't we do that more in kids ministry when it comes to getting people to work in our ministries? Why don't we invite them instead of asking them? And I was like, man, God does some cool things to give us good stories. And so today, let's dive into the roundtable and talk about inviting volunteers instead of asking volunteers.
All
so
right.
Welcome to the KMC podcast. We're glad you're here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
I'm Spider-Man. Oh, I'm Ben.
Ben doesn't do good in Spider-Man.
And I am Vicky, and we are going to jump into the conversation.
That's right. I want to go to this birthday party, man.
Dude, that invitation was pretty legit. Now I'm like, well, wait, what do I got to do for my son's birthday? Because that looked like
they just
done
upped the birthday party game.
Exactly. It was like the 5 for it was a Spider-Man looking 5, but it was a blow-up balloon, like a Mylar balloon. So it was like,
oh, man.
Somebody's got some Canvas skills.
They went
Maybe I
all
should
out.
get this person on my team.
I was going to
Just
say,
saying.
the birthday party game is getting scary.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it starts with that invitation, and people are up in their invitation game and making it, and it's like, okay, whoa, this is crazy. I mean, it's just like those promposals now. I mean, people go bonkers with inviting somebody to a dance. I mean, I saw some guys doing a Monty Python thing, including having coconut shells for the clip clop of the horses.
Oh,
it was
goodness.
hysterical. And I'm like, hey, what a great invitation. And of course, girl would have been nuts not to go with a guy that's that creative like that. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So,
Right? And
yeah,
how
I
awesome
think,
that they know you well enough that they've taken the thought process into the invitation.
yep,
So
that's very cool. This should be a fun conversation for sure, because we know that a lot of leaders are struggling with the volunteer stuff right now. And
Yep.
so if you haven't been listening to the previous episodes, you really should, because we're going to continue the conversation about volunteers and some of the struggles that we're hearing about. We promised you in season 3, we were going to have real conversations about real stuff going on in ministry. And some of the stuff I think you're going to like today in this episode, and some it may challenge your thinking. I hope it will. I really do hope it will.
and we might throw ourselves under the bus.
Oh, 100%. I've already got stuff
it's
in my
possible
head to throw myself under the bus.
But that's right.
It's
That's
possible.
a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what's the worst invitation you guys have ever gotten to something? And it doesn't have to be just volunteering, but what's the worst?
Anything?
What's the worst invite you've ever gotten for something?
I have one.
Uh-oh.
Same day invite by text. Hey, having a get together tonight, talking to someone, forgot to invite you. Can you come tonight?
Stop.
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
I mean, right? I love the thought, but if I were to put myself in a volunteer's shoes, and if that would have been an invite into something else, it just doesn't make you feel known or part of
Yeah.
something, you're an afterthought. So what do you got?
Yeah.
What does everyone else
Yeah.
got?
Mine's kind of like yours, Vicky. For those that don't know me, but some that do, I'm a huge movie person, and a group of my friends, we've worked it out since then, but texted me one day and were like, "Hey, we're going to see The Dark Knight Returns or The Dark Knight in IMAX. We have an extra ticket. Would you like to go?" And I was like, why am I just hearing about this tonight? Like, I would love an extra ticket. I would also love to be on the first set of text messages that happened about going to this.
The
We've
extra
worked it out.
ticket
We're
friend.
better for it.
Somebody, you're the
Yeah, the
I'm
extra
somebody
ticket.
canceled friend.
Leftovers.
But it was
Yeah,
great.
that's
in
what it
IMAX.
makes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh man.
I just recently got married, and I will say you said anything, so I'm putting it on the table right now. I got a text that said, "Are you feeling okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" It's because you look hot. Were you going to date with me? So apparently I'm be looking hot. See, you're supposed to laugh, Vicky. That's a great invitation.
Wow.
I hope that
Oh.
invitation came from your wife.
Yeah.
You know, all I gotta say is I'm looking hot, and she wanted to go on a date with me. So there we go.
Wow. Wow.
I of course said yes,
That's good.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
and
Well,
then I took my temperature.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Well, as we get into this conversation, one of the things that kind of sparked this was some of the research that we've been doing on volunteering. And Lifeway did some research, and they were looking at how people are asked to serve. And here's the quote we're going to kick it off with. It says, the practice of enlisting volunteers by making an announcement to the entire congregation from the platform or through an insert in the bulletin or a newsletter is essentially ineffective. Wow, shocker. Newsflash. But when asks are made to the masses, most everyone assumes it's going to be somebody else's yes that will be the answer.
Yep.
It's not going to be them. It's always the front row passing it to the back row. That announcement was for the people in the back.
Surely they have everyone they need.
Yeah, not me.
Yeah,
I would never. No, they don't need me. It's for the other person.
And I'm old enough to know and have been in places where we did a lot of asking from the pulpit, from the stage. My senior pastor did some asking for me at times back in the day. And I'm just curious, because I know when people comment in Facebook group, how are you getting volunteers? Because again, that's got to be one of the top questions we see all the time in Facebook groups. How do you get volunteers? What are you doing to get them? Every once in a while, I do see somebody saying, well, my pastor asks, and we're not saying it's dead or completely ineffective, but it's definitely not your top way of asking. But be honest, show of hands, especially for those that will be watching this on YouTube. How many of you, and I have to put my hand up already, did the whole mass plea of we need children and children's
hands, but I could probably fill 4 or 5 hands worth of how many times I've done this before.
Now created posters and hung them all through the hallway.
Okay. That counts as almost like a bullet. We did back in the day bulletins that you passed out
that before.
That became minivan floor liner too. On the way home.
I wonder, Tom, if there was a season where that did work. There was a point in time,
Tom
maybe
should be able to tell us. He's been here longer,
and we just have held on to. What?
Tom? I don't know if Tom heard my joke.
No, I didn't.
I said,
heard
Tom
it.
should be
It was
able to tell
amazing.
us he's been here longer. So what do you think, Tom? Back in the chisel and stone
I
time.
can tell you that, yes, there were times. Now, I will tell you the quality of the people, because 9 times out of 10, the people that responded were the people that I would have never asked in person. So it backfired at times. Did I get quality over quantity? No. No.
There was the overhead projector error, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
definitely could see
It
that working.
probably was. But you know what? I was asking myself, well, why do people do that? Why did we do that? And I think I can honestly answer. There was a fear of asking people one-on-one. There was a fear
Mhm.
of getting in
Mhm.
people's faces. There was a fear of, well, they're all so busy. And I started saying no for people right off the bat. And so it was easier to put out a mass plea, to send it out in a church newsletter or
Mhm.
mass text, saying, hey, this is our need, sign up now. People do that for Bible school. So they figure, well, if it works for Bible school and we set up a table out in the concourse,
Mhm.
it'll work for every Sunday ministry things. And so, it's one of those things. So I think what we've got to do in this episode is, everybody knows what doesn't work. We
Yep.
need to start helping people figure
Yeah.
out, how do I make it work?
Yeah.
No matter what I do, because I think no matter what you do, it starts with us. It starts with us, right? And so how do we reframe this? How do we change our mindsets about recruiting, about asking and inviting people into it? Because I think that's where a lot of leaders, I know some of the leaders I've coached, that was one of their things, is, how do I ask people? How do I get over that fear of being rejected, or that fear of saying no for them before I even ask them? So what can we help people with uh, to dive into this, as we're thinking invitation versus ask, and going into this? What do we got to do?
Well, Tom,
Well,
I'll
I can.
start by throwing out a little bit more research, because I know we want to get to the practical, but for those people who might be like me, research does a lot in my head to be like, okay, I'm starting with a firm foundation. So we know that research says that personal direct contact outperforms general announcements. Like, we know that the best way to recruit somebody is to reach out to
Yeah.
them specifically. So this is what research is
Okay.
saying to us. And so I love that we're having this conversation. And now we are going to give people ideas, and hopefully ones that will really stick. And I will say, I'll start by saying, we still do platform announcements. They are not asks, they are not invitations. There is an announcement about, and it can be serve Sunday, serve weekend, about serving. We would love for everyone to consider to jump into serving. I call it's throwing a pebble. You're throwing a pebble into the pond. And then we are responsible for the ripples to catch the ripples.
Oh,
And so
There you go.
after that, like, hey, we're all gifted, we're called, we're created to serve by God. Now, what are we going to do? And so I will take that ripple, and I'm looking for somebody. And after they hear that, I'm reaching out and I'm like, you come early every single week to drop off your kids. Would there be any chance where you would step in and be a greeter for me? Listen, it's a half hour. You still are going to get into service, but I take the starting point that we're doing in service at weekend, and I'm using it to then make personal asks.
Oh, that's good.
So what do you guys
Yeah.
think?
I'm Vicky. I'm right there with you. But I think what shifted for me, like when I got early on in the ministry, I was at a pretty big ministry, and it was like I didn't know anybody right off the bat, and so the idea of asking someone, I would just give them the no without even making without making the ask, because I'm like, there's just too many people. I don't want to. How do I even start this conversation? And then, I was obviously going through the Bible, and the answer came out, because it's the kids ministry answer: Jesus. Jesus came to serve,
Ben came
and so
prepared.
therefore,
I'm wearing my Jesus shirt.
you wearing Jesus shirt. We got
Jesus.
mini Jesus from
Everything.
Tom.
I
points to
got
that.
mini Jesus. I got little Jesus.
But it all came back to Jesus. And I was like, well, wait a second. Jesus calls us to serve because Jesus served, and it says in Mark 9, if anyone
Yeah.
would be first, he must be last of all and servant of all. And I was like, this
Ooh,
is our
yeah.
calling as a
Yes.
church community. We need to serve others. And maybe kids ministry is not your thing. That's fine. I mean, if you're listening to this, it is, but maybe kids ministry is
Hopefully.
not their thing. And yeah. And maybe, you saying, hey, would you serve in kids ministry is the catalyst if they're not serving anywhere to serve somewhere they're gifted. But for me, what really got me over the I'm scared to ask somebody and they're going to tell me no anyways is, well, I'm called to serve. I'm doing this from a servant's heart. Hopefully you're doing your job from a servant's heart. And so therefore God's called us to serve. And so let's serve. And so that was like a freeing moment for me. It was like eyes open. Okay, it's not even a hard ask anymore. It's like, hey, I just make it part of general conversation for people as I talk to them and get to know them, be like, hey, do you want to be a part of this awesome thing we got going on downstairs? Because I think you could do it. I think you'd be great.
Do you want to
You
know
know,
one
For the
way? Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Vicky.
Do you want to know one way I had to get over this? I had to practice in the mirror.
Done that too.
So total transparency, right? Like
Yep.
we need to practice it. So whether you're practicing in the mirror, practicing with somebody else, getting on a
Yeah.
call and doing that, I had to practice in the mirror.
Yep.
So if you're
Yeah, I had
listening and going, there is no way I'll ever do this, jump on a call. I'll practice with you.
Yeah.
Talk to your mirror, talk to your spouse, talk to
Yeah.
a friend.
well,
Call
you know,
Vicky and talk to her, and
there
she'll
you
just make faces at you if you FaceTime her. I
go.
will say, I had a moment that was a life-changing moment for me. It was years ago. I was always scared of rejection, and I would always say, "But their family's so busy," or like, they're already here. They don't come. Like I would just come up with a random excuse until one day
Yeah.
I'm standing in the hallway and I'm having a conversation with one of the moms, and I hear something, and basically like it looks like you guys got it all together. And I don't think I know many people have probably heard that. Y'all don't need me. It looks like you got because we work hard to figure out how to make it
Mhm.
look
Yeah.
good with what we got. But I really feel like I could be good at it. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna say no to you. How about you give it a try? I said, let's get you. I said, what's your favorite age range? And she's like kindergarten. I said, perfect. Let's go to our kindergarten
Let's
class.
get it.
And then afterwards, I want you to find me and I want you to tell me how it was.
There
I
you
put her
go.
in there. Of course, she had already had a background check and all that, safety first. So
Yep.
I put her in
You did
there.
all the due
and then,
diligence.
no joke. After it was over, I'm standing in the preschool hallway and she comes running out of the classroom, running towards me going, "This was the best Sunday I've ever had."
Yeah.
A grown woman running like a kid to their mom, like literally having the time of her life. And from that moment, I think that was a turning like, I can't say no for everybody because they're
That's
going to
right.
be that girl running out of that classroom. And no joke, I tried it again this past week. We have a fresh out of high school kid. And a couple weeks ago, I had gone to student ministry camp, and he was there, and he had mentioned, he's like, "Man, I want to be a leader one day. I don't know what that entails, but I want to maybe be a preacher. I don't, So I take that, I put it in, filing cabinet in my head,
There you
and
go.
I was like, "Hey, would you be interested in learning how to be one of the main teachers in our elementary?" Like we got full stage, they get up on the stage and they teach. And so I don't know. I said, I tell you what, I'm I let about a month go by and I sent them a text and say, "Hey, I went ahead and put you on the end of the month schedule, but you got 3 weeks and I'm gonna pour everything I know into you for the next 3 weeks. Will you get on stage?" And I get a text back that says, "I'm scared out of my mind. I don't know if I can do it." And I basically said, "Look," I said, "it only takes one time. I'm right there beside you. I'm your
Yep.
biggest cheerleader. I'll give you everything I know that can help make you successful. Give it a try, and then let's talk about it. And
Yeah.
I've learned that asking the like, just do it, and then we'll talk about it, and then you can tell
Mm-hmm.
me no. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you can't say no without trying it at least once.
Yep.
And it's working, and I love it. And so I'm just gonna like this week I sent another text message for a one-on-one buddy. Same concept. It worked. I was like, just give it one Sunday try. Try it out. And
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely so much fun to
Yeah.
take no for an answer or not to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you guys are, and I know people are hearing this and going, That's great. I get it. But I'm still struggling with the fear of asking.
Mm.
Um, let
Text them.
me. I'm not a big. I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of texting because it's too easy to ignore and it's too easy to say no.
So,
I
okay.
still think you got to get in front of people. But what do you need to do as a leader to get over that fear? What pushes you to get over that fear, to have that 30 seconds of insane courage, as I like to put it, to ask somebody, invite them? And I really do like the word invite better, inviting them into the next
Yeah.
level of their discipleship by
Yeah.
serving others. Because we are saved to serve, not saved to sit. And everybody can find a place. It may not be all in front of children. It may be prepping. It may be check-in. It may be security, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about some of that later. But how does a leader get over that fear? What do you have to do?
Pray,
I'm
I don't.
still
practice.
There's prayer and practice, and
And-
there's also understanding that the next generation of your church is the most important generation at your church. So do it. Like,
There you go.
practice
do
in the
it
mirror and then
scared.
go have a
I was
conversation.
hoping somebody was going to come up with something like, that sense of urgency to me is look, we have a spiritual war going on for the next generation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There is no doubt about it. The enemy is coming hard for the children. And if we don't, what's at risk? And so when you start putting that sense of urgency and light a fire under yourself to say, look, I can't reach them all by myself. I have to multiply. If I don't invite people to join
Mhm.
me in this mission, who is going to reach these kids? And it's not about standing in the gap. It's about coming in and being a part of life change and about being a part of somebody else's discipleship story. And I think that's what we got to get passionate about, to push us over that hump, to say, look, if I don't ask, I'm going to constantly be on the hamster wheel of plugging holes. Do you want that?
Yeah.
Hey, look, the straight up facts, and this is where I said earlier, it may tick some people off or make you uncomfortable, but get over yourself, get over the fear, and get over this. It's so hard. Suck it up, Buttercup. I'm sorry.
Tom is feisty tonight.
Yes,
Let's
bring
go.
it.
I'm gonna get
I will
it.
say it is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say it wasn't hard. And it
Yeah.
still can be
Yeah.
hard for me. There are some people that just are intimidating on a Sunday morning. And I have to get over it. And I'm like, I pray and I practice. And I'm like, okay, Joe's going to come out of service. And I really think he'd be a great storyteller. So this is what I'm going to say. And I practice. And when he comes out of service and he heads to pick up his son in the 4th grade classroom, I am saying, hey, I have an invitation I would love for you to consider. And so it is hard. I still have those people where I'm like, okay, so if that's you, it's me too. I still have that. I don't know if you guys still have those people where it's just hard. But like you said, Tom, when I look at the yellow on my schedule, that yellow mark that says, I need to fill this volunteer, and it's for a storyteller, I know that these kids need somebody to just
Yeah.
invest in them, to
Yep.
share the good news of the
Make God's word come
gospel, to
alive.
equip
Yeah.
them. So when they leave us and they go on to student ministry and they go on to college, they have a firm foundation of faith. And
Yeah.
so that's when
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do this, scared or hard. I still just
Yeah.
jump in and do it.
Yeah. People just have
I'm
to.
gonna give you a little secret for a small church that I found super successful. If you got a small church, it's super hard because you have limited resources to choose
Yeah, you
from.
do.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
if they have, like, if there is somebody that you feel like you're interested in, honestly, they probably already did it. And they said, well, I've already done that. So I've
Mhm.
already got that check mark. And I've heard that. And
Yep.
so for small churches, or you feel like you're alone in this, the hack to getting people to jump back in with you is literally invite them to dinner or coffee. So like
Yes.
if
Great
you
one.
feel like church is not the time to ask, and get involved in their life. And so
Yep.
like, hey, I would love to get coffee with you on Monday. No, I just want to get to know you. And maybe like we can talk kids ministry because I need some advice or wisdom. And take a second. Now you are in a relational conversation with this person to where like they can hear your heart. It's more than just a ministry now. It's a person. It's an
Yeah.
opportunity. And no joke, I've tried this with a few different small churches and consulting with them, and every time that like it's on their homework list, have a conversation with somebody outside of church around a table, and
Yep.
every time success, success, success. And so if you're in a small church, find $5, go to McDonald's or a Starbucks drink, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Take them out
I
and
mean,
Yep.
just watch what happens. It's great.
to be
It's
fair,
awesome.
Ben,
Yep.
even in a big church, that's honestly the best way I've found is building
Absolutely.
relationships, building communities, and let your heart be the thing, your heart for ministry be the thing that guides that conversation, and just
Yes.
let them hear, let them see your heart, and see
Yeah.
if God can change it to become their heart.
Yeah.
So
When
yeah,
you sit across the table from somebody, and like Ben said, get to know them
mhm,
before you're asking them to do something for you. Get to know them,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and remember that. Listen, yeah, are you going to get some no's? Yes, you will. And you just have to have a long-term mindset that recruiting has to be done consistently throughout the year. You can't just recruit quarterly. It's got to be consistent. You're going to constantly building up your team because you're always going to have people coming on and coming off, and especially in a small church, you're going to have to give people breaks. You're going to have to rotate people around. You're going to have to get creative in how you set up your schedule. And don't compare yourself to other churches. Do what works for you, and don't feel guilty about it. If you need
Amen.
to ask people to do it
mhm,
every other week, ask people for every. If you want to ask people for every week, ask people for every week. If it's once a month, ask for once a month. Listen, yes, consistency is important, but asking people to step in for the season they can do. And again, I am a huge advocate for seasonal serving, so that it does pull people off and let people come on and go off, and it allows them to go with their rhythm. But it's one of those things that they may be saying no, but that also can mean not now. It's just not their season right now. But a
yeah,
few months down the road, so when somebody says, "Well, I just don't feel like I could do that right now," hey, can I call you in 6 months? I've
Yeah.
never had
yeah,
anybody reject
yeah,
that.
Yep.
no,
Never. And a
yep,
lot of times, 6 months later, when I follow up, because I guarantee you it's on my calendar, to call them, that they'll say yes because they remember that they said
Mhm.
no, and that to give them some time. So when you invite people in and you invite them to test it out, inviting them to test it is a great thing. I don't know if you guys, I think I've heard a couple of you guys say that that's how
yeah.
you
We
get
do it.
people
Yep,
on a trial run
Mhm.
to make
yep,
sure they're fitting in the right place. That also gets you opportunity to give them some clarity on what people expect. Because I think that's a big mistake that leaders don't give prospects clarity about what's
Yeah.
expected, about what's the time involved. And if we're going to build better teams and get people, they need to know what we're inviting them to, right? They need to know, so you really should have an elevator pitch. You should have a 1 minute, 2 minute blurb, and then you should have a 15, 20 minute thing. And write it out, practice it, record yourself.
Yep.
I think those are insanely good practical tips that we can give you guys. That as you practice it, that way when the moment hits and it's there, you're not stumbling around. If somebody came out and said, "Hey, I've been thinking about volunteering," after you pick yourself up off the ground, and check your pulse and see if you're still with us, you're going to know what to say to them.
Tom, some of
and
my-
you're also going to know where to put them.
That is true. Some of my favorite relationships have come out of no's. So I'm currently serving at our small
That's a good one.
setup teardown campus, one service. And so has a couple of things that, can butt up against a good ask, good invitation into serving. And so I've had quite a few people say, no, not my season. But when I continue to talk to them, to see them in the hall when they're picking up their kids and how are things going, those have been some of the favorite relationships that I have built. And now that I've been there off and on for a year and a half, some of those people are coming back and going, I think I'm ready to step in to serve. Now, that's not why I was building the relationship. It wasn't at some, bait and switch. I was truly wanting to care for them because they're still a family in your ministry. And I think we need to remember that through all of this. The people that are saying no are still part of God's kingdom, and they are still ours to help shepherd. And when I've done that, it has really paid off. It's the long game.
Yeah.
So,
All right, but I got a fun little game to end this.
Here we go.
Fun
Here
game.
we go.
I love elevator questions. There's a lot of people out here that's probably listening that goes, look, I got no time. Sunday is happening. I got to find a volunteer now, ASAP. And so you got 10 seconds to just randomly ask anyone, what is your go-to question? Like, cold calling somebody, you're scared out of your mind. You only have one question to this person. Like, what would you say? No relationship. You're just
No
looking.
relationship. How do I
Somebody's
have their
desperate.
number? Or just randomly coming. Are they background
The
checked?
church
Ben?
data-
Do we know this?
they can't serve. They're not background checked.
I was gonna say I've seen all sorts
Take
of
all
red
the fun
flags.
stuff out of that. You've got a list of people.
I will say, okay,
Go.
so I will tell you this. When I have a subgroup of people that I have like 10 subs that I text weekly because that's how it works. I usually don't say, hey, there's a hole in our 2-year-old ministry. Would you like to fill that hole for me today? I always text so one of my favorite, I have a couple of them that are like nursery. They love nursery, but because of their schedule, they can't serve regularly. So I will text them, hey, I know you love holding babies, and there's an opportunity this morning for second service in the baby holding room. Are you in? So.
All right, that's pretty good. That's
Okay,
pretty good.
yeah,
What
okay.
about you, Vicky? Your go-to
Okay.
question.
10 seconds. Well, of course, they have to be. We are going to assume that I have, or somebody's had a conversation with them. They are clear to serve in ministry. But
All that.
It's all safe.
Maybe. If not, that's a whole nother podcast that we need to do.
Yeah.
I am saying, okay, I'm going preschool room. I'm going 3-year-olds, and I'm saying, hey, I have an opportunity in the room. You know that little kid, Ben, that you love? He's like really energetic. He is always running around the room. I have an opportunity in his room this weekend. Are you interested?
Okay. I grew up though. I still run around the room.
I was thinking,
All right,
I have a kid named
Yeah.
Ben that's like that in my 3-year-old room. I was like,
I
Vicky's
think
inspired.
all Bens have ADHD or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of those where we definitely, if you've only got a few seconds to catch them, is for me, it's just, hey, you want to go have some coffee? I've got some opportunities that I think you would be a great fit for. I want to bounce a couple ideas off of you and see what you think.
But you can't. You got Sunday happening in 2 days. What are you going to do, Tom?
Ben wants a right now urgent answer,
Because I'm
Tom.
going to make, because my
No
process.
time for coffee.
Yeah.
He's meeting them at 7 a.m. for
here's the thing.
coffee.
Yep,
Here's
he's
the
inviting
thing.
him to church early to have the first sip of coffee at church.
There's always going to be fires to put out. I'm not going to
Yeah.
compromise my safety and security. And I'm also, I guess from experience, know that you want to find the right people for the right seat on the bus.
Yeah.
And if you go out of desperation, Sunday's coming, I got to plug this hole. I would rather leave that hole unplugged than put the wrong person in it. So that's why I would, if I've only got a few minutes to pitch them, I'm going to pitch them for the, hey, let's have this conversation because I've got some ideas for you. Because here's the thing, I've got a lot of on ramps. You know, we're always focused on the volunteers in front of the kids. But what about those on ramps of being a sub, being a prep person, being a tech person, I got some of the best guys in ministry as small group leaders. They all started on my security team. That's where they started.
Same.
I invited some dads who would come in and drop their kids off, and I just started a conversation, you know, and that's how I did it was, hey, can we grab coffee? Because I would love to have a quick conversation with you about something that I think you'd be perfect for. And it was, hey, I need some safety guys. I need some people that can walk the halls and help our kids feel safe and know that there's dads watching out for them. And I got one dad who recruited 4 more. After a year of serving as safety guys, every one of them joined as small group leaders because they were watching what the small group leaders were doing.
Yeah.
And I literally, not that long ago, and we got to wrap up, is this dad sent me a picture of a time where we built cracker knackles.
What is it? Wait.
What is
another
that?
podcast? What is a cracker knackle?
We were
I know what a
teaching
Cracker Barrel is.
Yeah. This is not Cracker Barrel. We were teaching a Bible lesson series on the tabernacle. And so as a small group activity, the groups got graham crackers and frosting, and they built cracker knackles. And
And that's
telling
what you called it?
That's what we called it.
I feel like we got to go up with a new name.
Hey, I'm telling
amazing.
I'm telling you, this was like 15 years ago. This dad shared that on Facebook. It's one of his favorite memories of serving and putting it up there. A couple years later, a mom whose son was in that small group posted the picture.
She still
and
has
said,
it on
my
her.
son still talks about the cracker knackles.
Did you say 15 or 50?
15. Don't you dare, you dog.
I love that though, because he saw purpose. He saw purpose in what he was doing. I love that. That's he wasn't just serving out of need or to fill a hole.
Nope.
But he got something, and it was that was a lasting memory of it still floating around, even if it
definitely
was.
It definitely was. It
unique
was
way,
crazy. But it started with having me getting over myself, getting out of my way, not saying no for this guy because he was very busy. He owned his own business, all sorts of. I could have envisioned like Ben did that one. I could have envisioned a whole bunch of excuses for this guy, but I wasn't going to make excuses for him, and I wasn't going to say no for him. And I just took 30 seconds to say, "Let's grab coffee and let's talk." That conversation was, "Hey, I think this would be a perfect spot for you. Can we talk about it?" He didn't even have to think or go, "I got to pray about it." He was like, "Yes, I'm all in." And I said, "Do you know some other dads that might want to do this?" Boom. Yeah, I got 4 guys. Boom. I got my security team. Boom. So listen, if you're stuck, if you're feeling it, and maybe there's some tension there, or maybe you need someone to practice on. Guess what? There's 4 of us around this table that would love to have a conversation with you. And it's going to take you to have 30 seconds of insane courage to go, you know what? I'm going to go over to KidMinistryCollective.com. I'm going to go find one of these coaches that I've been listening to on this podcast or watching on YouTube. And I'm going to hit the call button, or I'm going to message them and set up a time for 30 minutes where we can just help you get unstuck with one thing. That's one thing, to give you that confidence and that clarity to lead forward, so that you're not just begging, you're not just asking, you're inviting.
Ooh.
That's going to wrap up this week's episode of the KMC Collective podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
I'm crack-a-lacking.
And I am Vicky. Thanks for joining us, friends.
We're out of here.
Hey, friend, that wraps up the KMC Collective podcast for this week.
Cracker
Thanks
knack.
so much for listening. If today's episode sparked something, an idea, a heartbeat, or a fresh start, drop us a line at tom@tombump.com or reach out on social media. We'd love to hear your story and keep the conversation going. Remember, you're not just doing kids ministry, you're shaping the next generation's faith with intention and care. Be encouraged, be creative, and take a breath. You've got this. Catch you next time on the KMC Collective podcast.